It is said that the Pythagoreans regarded numbers as geometric, physical, and arithmetic entities created from points or particles. In other words, numbers were thought to be the reality that makes up the universe. Points of these units were placed at the vertices of various geometric figures, and they were called triangle numbers, square numbers, etc. In the Pythagoreans, numbers not only had a quantitative size but also had a geometric form. It was in this sense that they understood numbers as both forms and shapes of natural objects. Let's look again at how numbers are connected to form and the reality that makes up all things. They created numbers from individual units, as if counting pebbles. The words calculus and calculation come from the word pebble, calculus, used by the Pythagoreans. They used pebbles to represent quantities when counting. According to arithmetic, the number 1 was 1 pebble, and other numbers were created by adding pebbles. But the pebble did not simply represent quantities. It also created a certain shape. This leads to the important fact that the Pythagoreans discovered the relationship between algebra and geometry. A pebble is as much one as a dot. However, two pebbles are made up of 2 points, and these 2 points form a line segment. Like the 3 vertices of a triangle, the 3 points form a plane, and the 4 points represent a cube. This fact shows the close relationship between number and size. Pythagoras proved the formula we know as the Pythagorean theorem, that in a right triangle, the sum of the squares of the 2 right-angle sides is equal to the square of the remaining hypotenuse. All shapes and numbers became concrete entities rather than abstract concepts. The Pythagorean claim that all things are numbers means that numbers exist at the basis of all things that have shapes and sizes. All things have numbers, and the even or odd nature of those numbers explains the opposing nature of things, such as one and many, squares and rectangles, straight lines and curves, and stillness and movement. Even light and darkness were numerical opposites, as were man and woman, good and evil. By understanding numbers in this way, the Pythagoreans went on to form some of their most important philosophical concepts. Number is worshipped religiously. The Pythagoreans revered numbers not only mathematically but also religiously. They considered 1 to be the source of creation of all numbers. This shows that they have some understanding of the concept of infinity. This is because no matter how big a given number is, you can make it bigger by simply adding 1 to it. 2 is the first female number, an even number, and symbolizes conviction. 3 is the first truly masculine number. It is an odd number and symbolizes harmony. The first square number, 4, represents justice and plurality. The number 5, the sum of the first female and male numbers, symbolizes marriage. Number 7 was especially revered by the Pythagoreans, because it was the number of 7 planets, or wandering stars. The most sacred number of all was 10, or tetractes. This symbolized the number of the universe, the sum of all the generative circles of geometrical dimensions. 10 equals 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4. Here, element 1 represents a point, 0 dimension, and element 2 represents a line, 1 dimension. Connecting 2 points creates a line segment. 3 represents a plane, 2-dimensional. Connecting 3 points creates a triangle and a plane is determined. And 4 represents a solid, 3-dimensional. Connecting 4 points creates a solid, a tetrahedron. One of the greatest intellectual achievements of the Pythagoreans was that they deduced the special status of 10 through abstract mathematical arguments. The number 10 is not just the sum of the fingers of 2 hands. A triangular number is a number that forms a triangle when its elements are drawn. Smaller triangular numbers include 3 and 6. The trigonometric number following 10 is 15. Philolaus, who led the later Pythagorean school, is said to have written about the worship of triangular numbers, especially tetractes. He described the divine tetractes as omnipotent, the creator of all things, and the origin and guide of both divine and earthly life. Tetractes, as its name suggests, has an equilateral triangular pyramid structure with 4 integers in 4 layers. Each number has not only a morphological meaning but also a metaphysical meaning. The first integer, 1, is a monad and represents the source of all things, oneness as a whole, and the principle of unity. The second integer, 2, is called dyad, or dyad, and symbolizes duality, the differentiation of all things. The third integer, 3, is the triad, a number that controls and harmonizes the polarity of the undifferentiated monad and the infinitely dividing duad. The number 4, which creates the first solid, such as a tetrahedron, is a tetrad and is the basis of matter. The Pythagoreans believed that the purification of the soul and immortality could be achieved through the study of mathematics and philosophy. They found in their scientific and mathematical activities a way of life purer than any other. In particular, it is said that mathematical thinking was believed to liberate humans from the illusion of individual things and lead them to an eternal and orderly world of numbers. The Pythagoreans are said to have discovered through music that mathematics and nature are closely related. First of all, they paid attention to the fact that music is deeply related to essence. It was discovered that the length of an instrument's strings is proportional to the pitch it produces. For example, the pitch of the note increases in proportion to the length of the string, and if the length is halved, the pitch goes up 1 octave. In this way, they realized that pitch is expressed as an integer ratio of the length of the string or pipe. Therefore, for the Pythagoreans, music was conclusive evidence of the fact that all things are filled with numbers. Pythagoras realized the close relationship between numbers and nature by noticing that the sound produced by musical instruments such as the lyre or flute varies depending on the length of the strings and pipes, and that the most pleasant chords are formed when the lengths of these form a simple whole number ratio. For example, the fact that 1, do, 8/9, le, 64/81, mi, 3/4, par, 2/3, sol, 16/27, la, 128/243, c, 1/2, do, he checked. Also, if you adjust the frequency ratio of the strings to 2/4, 2/7, 3/0, 3/2, 3/6, 4/0, 4/5, 4/8, the notes in turn become do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do, and combining these notes creates a beautiful harmony. Pythagoras have discovered immovable evidence that the ratio of frequencies, that is, the ratio of numbers, forms harmony and chords. Pythagoras believed that numbers already existed before the creation of all things, that numbers were the first things in nature, and that the whole was one musical scale and one number.